Yeah,
You got the vaccine, but not quick enough, I guess.
got the vaccine on the 2nd of January, but about 10 days later, I must have contacted somebody. Hey,
Oh, wow.
You haven't had your second dose then, have you?
All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. January 28th meeting of Murray City Council will come to order. I'd like to welcome any guests that are viewing or listening to this. We'll have a moment of reflection, and after which I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Moment of reflection, please. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag
of the
United
States of
of
America.
the
of
Republic
America,
for which it stands,
stands.
which is the
under
one nation, under God, indivisible,
liberty.
liberty,
For all.
and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now consider the minutes of the January 14th meeting.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second. Are there any questions? Any additions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The minutes are approved. Under the mayor's report, Mr. Osborne, they always like to have an update on recycling. Can you help me out here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As of today, we have 372 signed up for our recycling program. I have been working with Kim White and her staff on getting our utility system ready to accept the payments. We've met with Ron, who has reached out to the public to let them know that we're getting very close to being ready to develop the routes and receive the containers and things like that. So I also spoke with Republic this past week, and they anticipate having the contract back to Mr. Hopkins sometime next week. Well, that's where we're at right now. It's still looking good. We're 28 away from 400.
Thank you. Any questions? Comments?
I have a question.
All righty.
Earlier, I heard that there would be some flyers either from the Sierra Club or from the city of Murray being put out in places. I know everybody's kind of shut in. Have I missed that? Are there flyers? I know, and I would be happy to take some and walk around my neighborhood and just put them in mailboxes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know that several of them went out because we got some complaints about them being in mailboxes. That was not legal. So I know several went out, Dr. Dan. I can't tell you how many, but I believe it was through the Sierra Club.
How did it, you know?
I'm sorry?
How did this happen? How were they distributed? I never saw any or never.
Well,
Go ahead.
I know they put some in mailboxes because we got a complaint about them being in the mailboxes. So,
Okay, good.
Dr. Young, did you have a comment or a question?
I did not. No. That's news to me.
Okay.
I didn't realize they did that.
Oh, your box lit up, so I thought, John Mark, did you raise your hand?
Need 400 to start or 500?
We need 500.
500. Okay.
400 is getting close to what we think we might could start with.
Okay.
Pat?
Back to the mailbox issue, the complaint, I think, Jim, you're being very kind. I think the complaint actually came from the post office that some of our flyers, enough flyers had been placed in people's mailboxes that the post office reached out to Ron Albritton because I think his contact information was actually on the flyer. and told him that that had to stop. So I haven't heard from the Sierra Club if they have plans to distribute flyers in any other manner. But I agree with Dr. Dan. I think we need to get the word out because people are just not finding out about this.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, Dr. Dan, we'll see if we can get you a stack of them to go door to door in your neighborhood and anybody else that
I'm not.
volunteers.
I'm retired. I'm serious. On when the weather's nice, I need to get out and walk because I'm fat and old. I'd be happy to do it, and I'm serious. I'm not joking.
I think we could put them, slide them in people's front doors or, somewhere not in the mailbox.
Right, right. Yeah.
Didn't we get something in our utilities bill too, as well?
Yes,
There's a small note on the bottom in there.
we've put it on Facebook, we put it on our Twitter account, we've got it on our website, we put it on the utility bills, and John's
The
done
bills.
5 articles on it. So it seems the best response we're getting is when John does an article. We've been averaging 15 or 20 a week. He does that. So
Okay.
It's moving pretty well, really. All right, the next update I'm gonna try to give you is regarding COVID and vaccine. There was a pretty good update in the paper yesterday, today one, but I was in on a Zoom with the governor yesterday, and if you recall, we have different phases. 1A were the long-term care facilities and assisted living healthcare workers. I think that one's pretty well complete. 1B, first responders, anyone over 70, and K through 12 school personnel. I think the first responders have had their first dose, and I think they're getting ready for their second one either this week or next. You've been seeing where the school people are getting their shots. And so now I think the emphasis is going to be on 70 and older to complete this phase. The governor said that we've been guaranteed a 17% increase in the amount of vaccine. He also indicated that they told the states that they would give them how many doses are going to get over a 3-week period. In the past, they've been telling on Tuesday how much they're going to get, and it was very difficult to plan. And so there are some things in the works that I think an announcement will be coming out soon about a regional facility or two to where they're going to provide vaccine for the masses, 70 and older. So I think you're going to see some of the 2 words that he emphasized are supply, because everything depends on the supply. And secondly, he emphasized patience, that we need to be patient until everybody's term comes up. In Kentucky, there are about 400,000 70 and above in that category to be vaccinated. And when you get out into the next category, which is 1C, that's 60 and older, there's 1.3 million in that category. So emphasis right now, I think, is going to be 70 above, followed by 60 above. Okay, little update anyway.
Mayor, will they still be calling us when they work down to us on the list?
I think they when they get to the end of the day or end of a vial or end of the week, rather, they got to use it. So they go to the waiting list and start calling if they have some left over. But hopefully I think next week you're going to hear an announcement about a very exciting regional center that'll be very close to us. Mr. Dr. Young?
Hey, Mayor, I did hear the governor's talk today, and he said that Lourdes, or whatever they call those two hospitals over there in Paducah, will be opening up the first week in February to do regional vaccines.
That's
And
great.
there's one Kroger, I think, and there's one Kroger, I think, in Louisville, and then they're going to start doing it at the horse park in Lexington. Those are the first areas they're going to start doing that, and that's real quick. And then,
I think you'll hear next week that there'll be one even closer to us than that.
yes, I
I'll
think
wait.
so.
I'll wait and let them work out the details and announce it, okay?
Sounds good.
I'm glad to hear they're gonna have one in Paducah though. Mr. Bowden, you've had a busy week at Murray High School. Anything you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Of course, you know, Monday and Tuesday this week at Murray High, we had kind of a scary situation with a series of threats that led to a lockdown of the school and then on Tuesday, an evacuation. And I just wanted to take a minute to compliment the officers of the Murray Police Department and the incredible work they did keeping us safe. In particular, I wanted to mention Officer David Maddox, who's our school resource officer, who was the only person there on the ground initially until backup arrived. And also wanted to mention the excellent work Sergeant Wiggins did with press briefings to keep the public informed, and of course, Chief Lyles. And we had partners from all over the region, including the Callaway Sheriff's Office, the Marshall County Sheriff's Office, the ATF, Murray State PD, and the state police that just did a really good job in a very tense situation to make sure that staff and students were all safe, protected, and being able to witness the work they did firsthand was just a great encouragement. And to know that when I heard boots in the hallway, that we were under good hands and that everything would be safe. So I wanted to make sure they knew how much I appreciated them as a council member and as a teacher for the work they've done and are going to continue doing to protect us. So thank you.
Thank you. I totally agree. I went out on Monday and just to see how all the preparation and planning and drills that the teachers and students, fire department, first responders, police department, to see all that fall in place. You know, the police were there, the fire department had the roads blocked where the people couldn't go there and until it was safe to go there. They didn't let me go there until it was safe to go there. So I was very impressed also. Commend everyone on that, although it's very unfortunate that it's very unfortunate. Next thing we want to do is have a FY20 audit report. Ms. Romaine, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay. The council members each have a copy of the audit. Thank you for providing those for us. And thanks to Mr. Osborne for delivering those so that the council members would have a couple of days to look through those before going through that tonight. So I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Romaine.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Quite unusual circumstances that we are working with nowadays. I would like to first of all thank Kim, especially for all the hard work she's had to do because this year's been unique on doing the audit. We've had to do a lot of PDF and scanning and communication via email, via phone conferences, delivery of boxes, in order to protect you and to protect us from the COVID. Your audit report, as you guys were delivered, I heard earlier that you guys were speaking about how during these difficult times that you still have been able to operate and provide the services needed without really diving into a lot of your reserve accounts. And that I do applaud you for. Of course, this does end June 30th of 2020. There's a lot of 2020 left and there's a lot of 2021 still involved. And I know that each and every one of you are feeling the 2021 is being more of a pinch as of right now than 2020. It's scary times that we're living in, dealing with the COVID, but not only dealing with that, but dealing with businesses and employers and employees. And that makes it difficult for you to operate, but not only for us to operate. But overall, I'm going to point out some key factors here because your report is right at approximately 70 pages long. And we could go through each and every page, but we'd be here for a few weeks doing so. But your first thing is your unmodified audit opinion, which means you have a clean opinion on your audit report. And what we state there is basically, in all material respects, the numbers that you're looking at are accurate. The second thing I would like to point out is that the compliance issues and internal control findings, there was none for this year. And that is applied for all of the individuals working in the accounting department and the hours they work. I know that I was receiving emails at 12:30 and at 1 o'clock in the morning from your staff. That's how many hours they have been working on this. And I do applaud them for that because not too many people will do that anymore, especially at 12:30 at night or 1 o'clock in the morning working on numbers. But I want to most aggressively point to, although yes, your revenues are down and your expenditures were also cut in order to make sure that those reserves were kept in place to operate and to provide the service that you do need. I would like to point out this year also, in your financial statements, you're going to notice in your statement of net position that there is a negative. I want to make sure I address that for the governmental activities. This you will find on your statement of net positions, page 9.
Page 9, please.
Okay, on page 9 in your governmental funds, you're going to see negative $950,000. That is a deficit. Let me explain why that deficit is there. Since GASB 68 and GASB 75 was implemented, you're required to report the unfunded pension liability. Each year, this is calculated by an actuarial report provided by the Kentucky Retirement System. This year, you had a significant impact with this liability, more than the previous years. This is throwing this into a deficit. The overall impact of the pension liability on this balance sheet is $29.6 million. And what I mean by that is if we went back prior to GASB 68 and 75, your fund balance would be increased by $29.6 million. This is derived from the actuarial report. A lot of cities right now are facing the same issue this year. And they're like, why is it affecting us so largely? Well, a lot of attributes go into that. Your payroll goes into that. The employer contributions to your pension plan. And that's how that is allocated to each and individual cities or any other municipalities or teachers' retirement. Anyone that contributes into the Kentucky Retirement System, each year that is calculated. And your factor contribution is your percentage of what you have to report into your financial statements. But I point that out because so many cities are wondering what is going on with the pension. And I ask everyone to please, look at your Kentucky Retirement System. It's on the internet. You can look at it. You can look at how much is attributed to your city or any other city. And each year that can either go up or it can go down. And it's based on a lot of different factors, not only the payroll costs, not only the contributions, but how much the actuarial contributes to that factor. I just want to pay attention to that. And that's why that is there. Do you have any questions on this? I know there's some that do.
Anybody have a question about the pension obligation?
There's a lot of supporting schedules in your audit report that will show you for the last 5 years, as many years that we've been doing it for the GASB 68. Start with 15 and go through. But the CRS report and the KERS is all online for any one of you to look at and go through the retirement system to see how that is calculated. And I really advise anyone to read that and look at it. The higher the contribution factors for the prior year, the more that is contributed to each one and allocated. It's a factor there. It's a mathematical factor. That is done. Also, the actual assumptions change, so it changes. But overall, as far as besides that one influence on your financials, the city for this year operated, as you said, you're within $100,000 of budgeted revenues. Your expenditures were cut to reflect that. Your overall budget has been very much pinpointed to make sure that you reflect any type of reduction in any type of revenues, and then you are allocated those expenditures by your government. You guys making the right decisions to reduce those expenditures to make sure that you're not going into your reserve accounts, which I applaud you for. If you guys will turn now to page 16, we're going to look at your business type activities. The business type activities is your water and sewer, gas, sanitation, and stormwater. And what we look at here, they're completely separated from your general government operations as far as property taxes, occupational taxes. We separate them out. You had a lot of projects going on. You still have a lot of projects going, which is wonderful. You're improving the city for the people. But overall, this year, your operating income losses are reflected about $143,000 lost for this year. Now that does have depreciation in it. It also has revenues. And of course, as we all know too, a lot of people with revenues this year, paying bills has been difficult too, correct? The collection of those bills. With COVID going on, we had a lot of stipulations where you could not turn off water. Or compensated for that and ensuring that you had reserves in place that paid expenditures for this. The receivables, of course, were things that some people were not paying as much on time, and it's understandable with COVID going on. But your overall operations from this has been wonderful for this year. Your $143,000 internal service fund, and that's typical. But your overall business type activities, you produce 4.7, which is helping with those projects. And I want to emphasize that to everyone, that although that you may be showing profits and you may have monies in reserves, those accounts have got to be held for those continuing projects that you have or improvements that you may need in the future. We just went through the biggest in my lifetime, and I'm sure most of your lifetime. We've never seen anything quite like this. And I'm just fortunate enough that a lot of people have made great decisions and put money in reserve accounts for this pandemic. Okay, on statement of cash flows, which deals with the proprietary fund or your business type, on page 17, this is what most people want to look at. How much do we provide by the operations of our utilities to pay for our debts and our capital improvements? As you see here on page 17, you go about 3/4 quarter of the page, you're going to see your net increase or decrease in cash and cash equivalents. You guys were able to provide right at $6.2 million, which had to go into reserve. You have a very large projects going in with your sewer project, your water systems. And these are providing, these funds are providing monies to pay for these. Or you're almost finished with one of the largest projects that you have going currently. And it's about a $60 million project. As you and I discussed this week earlier, that project is almost complete.
Right.
Correct. But that is a very large project that's been going on for multiple years, and you're almost finished with that project. But the reserve account there has been established for that. So overall, operation for 1920, even with the loss of rigs, the COVID impact, you have operated very efficiently. And I applaud you for that. Are there any questions that you guys have directly in regards to the audit?
Anyone have a question for Ms. Romaine? Kim Light is here also. Kim, I want to thank you and your staff in the finance department for all your hard work. Do you have any comments, Kim?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank Krista for working so closely and patiently with us. She has bragged on us a lot, but I have to brag on her because she's kept us all on our toes. She's a real go-getter, and they're just really good people to work with.
Pages 4 through 7 is a summary that Kim put together for financials for this year. You find a lot of information in those pages.
Mayor,
Anyone?
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Dan here. I'd asked Kim, and she may want to share this before the meeting started to with the other council members to let us know how tax receipts were going. We collected our property taxes here in November, December, January, and how that, with people with COVID and unemployment and so forth, I thought it would be interesting to see how that compared to 1 year ago. So, Kim, would you mind sharing that with us?
Sure. So this year, based on a fiscal year to date, from July 1 of 2020 to January 21st of 2021, we have collected for the general fund $3,096,000 in taxes. Compared to last year for the same time period, that's $2,900,000. We did have a slight increase in the rate. However, another driving force, I think, for that is that a lot of homeowners wanted to refinance their property because of the low interest rates. And so we did have several large outstanding property taxes paid this year. And we also extended the deadline a month. So we had more people that were grateful for that, and they came in a month later and paid that. I think that knowing that they didn't have a penalty encouraged them to pay it off early as well. For the business license, we have seen a drop in the business license this year to date. This year to date, we collected $36,488 compared to last year for the same time period of $43,658. Something else that was interesting about that number is that we have 248 receipts for business license this year compared to 295 last year. So that's about 50, close to 50 business licenses that have not been renewed so far this year. And Danetta may have some more insight on that with the business license.
Comment on that, Ms. Clayton?
No, some of them has moved, and a lot of them just haven't renewed.
And we can all drive around town and see what's going on with the empty stores, can't we? That's unfortunate. We've got to get to work on that. As soon as we get people vaccinated, we've got to fill those storefronts up. Any other questions on the audit or on financials? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the FY20 audit report. Dr. Miller makes the motion.
I'll second it.
Ms. Elder second the motion. Is there any other discussion on the audit? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The audit is approved. Thank you, Ms. Romaine, for all your work on this and for being patient with us and understanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item, ordinance number 2021, 1806, first reading. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2021-1806, first reading. An ordinance enacting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Murray, Kentucky.
Okay, did y'all hear her?
Yes.
Laid it out on me. Danetta, you want to just explain what that ordinance is about?
This ordinance codifies all of 2020 ordinances. It gets it up to date.
Okay. This is the first reading of this ordinance of codification. We'll second reading at the next meeting. Ordinance 2021-1805.
Ordinance number 2021-1805, second reading. An ordinance amending City of Murray Code of Ordinances, Chapter 93, Health and Sanitation, Subchapter 9304, City's Responsibility, Private Collectors Prohibited, specifically paragraph D1, Recycling Material, 9305, Special Collections, Charges, Denial of Services, Prohibited Items, Callback and Special Pickup, 9306, Monthly Statement, Cessation of Charge, 9308, Schedule of Fees, in order to update the current recycling rules and regulations and update current fees for collection.
Thank you. This is the second reading. Mr. Bohannon, did you have a question? Or are you making a motion? Okay, I think I have a motion to approve this ordinance. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. This is basically the recycling update to the sanitation ordinance. And like I say, it's the second reading. I want to thank Attorney Hopkins for all his hard work on this and other ordinances that he puts into the right form for us after we tell him what we want. So thank you, Warren. Roll call though, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon?
He waved yes.
Mr. Boland?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Ms. Elder?
Yes.
Mr. Hudspeth?
Yes.
Mr. McChristian?
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Aye.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Rouse,
Yes.
Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Dr. Young.
Yes.
All right. This motion to approve the ordinance passes unanimously. Is there any other business to be brought before the council tonight?
May I ask one question?
Sir?
May I ask, I noticed that Paducah on Channel 6 News, Paducah in February is going to go back to in-person council meetings. Have we given it thought when we made it?
Paducah's having in-person meetings? So what he said?
Beginning in February, the city council was going to start meeting in person. Have we given any thought, or have you given any thought when we might be?
Well, my first question is, how many council members do they have?
Well, 4 plus the mayor, 5, yeah.
Now, that's got something to do with us trying to follow the governor's guidelines. Osborne and I have discussed this, and basically, our thoughts have been is if we, as soon as we can get the majority of our folks vaccinated, we need to get back in here. So, that's the discussion we've had. We want you to be safe, and if you tell us you want to meet in person, okay. Jim?
Yeah,
Comment.
well, I would just say, we can do a variety of things. If we want to do a phase in and have the council in first while we're waiting for our employees to get their first shot. We can do whatever the pleasure of the mayor and the council is.
Any comments on this?
Has anybody been vaccinated of the group other than Burton?
Hey.
Okay, Dan? Okay,
Mr. Bolin,
okay.
Dr. Miller,
Okay.
Let me just say, Mayor, I think you're better off a meeting just like this until we get a heads up and get a lot more people vaccinated. I had no idea where I caught it. I had no idea. I mean, it's just out there. So I don't think we can be too careful. I think these meetings get the job done, and it's a way of the future. I think we ought to keep going like we're going for right now. Be my thought.
other comments? I think
I agree with that. Until I get a vaccine, I'm sticking pretty close to home.
I have been.
I agree with that.
okay. We'll leave it like it is for now, and it does hit home pretty closely when a good friend of yours dies, or somebody that you know real well, and they family tells you they have no idea where they got it, and just